Let's start with a pop quiz. Name a pharaoh of Egypt. Go on, say it out loud. You probably said Tutankhamun, or Ramses, or Cleopatra. But I'm willing to bet you didn't say Taharqa or Piye. These men were pharaohs, and they came from a kingdom in the heart of Africa, south of Egypt, called Kush. So why does it feel like you just discovered a secret? Today, we're finding out. Claim number 1. The Black Pharaohs weren't real Egyptians. Let's tackle this big one first. This claim isn't really about history. It's about the picture in our heads. We see their statues and think, they don't look like the other pharaohs. But the ancient world didn't draw these rigid modern lines back then. What mattered was power, religion, and culture. And when Pharaoh Piye of Kush marched his army north, he didn't see himself as a foreign invader. And yes, mirrors existed back then. He was a devotee of the Egyptian god Amun. He believed the northern Egyptian princes were corrupt and impious. Therefore, he conquered Egypt to restore it, not to destroy it. He had himself crowned Pharaoh, not as a Kushite king, but as the rightful ruler of a unified Egypt. His story is carved right into the stone of his victory monument. So the verdict? False and misleading. The idea that the Black Pharaohs weren't real Egyptians is false. The question itself is wrong. They weren't lesser Egyptians. They were, in their own eyes, the ones who saved the empire. Claim number 2. The Black Pharaohs of Egypt were minor, forgettable kings. This is false. Okay, so they were pharaohs, but surely they were just a brief blip, right? A forgettable dynasty. But let's talk about scale. The Kushite 25th dynasty ruled a unified Egypt and Kush for nearly a century. That's longer than many famous royal lines and almost as long as The Simpsons has been airing. But I digress. And Pharaoh Taharqa wasn't just building small monuments. His empire was a powerhouse. And when the Assyrian Empire, the deadliest military machine on earth at the time, invaded Egypt, who stood against them? Taharqa. So the idea that they were just a minor, forgettable blip of a dynasty is false. This was no footnote. For a critical century, the Black Pharaohs commanded an empire that rivaled any in the world. Claim number 3. The Black Pharaohs were simply copycats with no culture of their own. The third claim is that they had no original culture. They just mimicked Egyptian art and gods. But look closer. They didn't build perfect copies of the pyramids. Theirs were steeper, more angular, a unique architectural signature. See? Even remixes began in Egypt. And they didn't just worship Egyptian gods. They fused them with their own, like the lion god Apedamak. And most tellingly, they eventually stopped using Egyptian hieroglyphics altogether. They developed their own script, Meroitic, a complex writing system that we still can't fully translate today. Therefore, the Black Pharaohs of Egypt weren't imitators, they were innovators who took what they admired and forged it into a powerful, distinct, and sophisticated culture of their own. They invented the remix. Claim number 4. The story of the Black Pharaohs was just lost to time. This is the most comforting lie. It suggests that no one is to blame. The sands of time just buried their story. But the truth is more uncomfortable. The pioneers of modern Egyptology wrote about the Kushites' incurable degeneracy. The famed archaeologists who discovered their magnificent pyramids initially refused to believe Africans built them, attributing them to Egyptianized foreigners. Apparently, while archaeologists are expected to dig up stuff, some prefer to do just the opposite. So this idea that the story of the Black Pharaohs was just lost to time is false. Their story wasn't lost. It was for generations dismissed downplayed, and omitted by the very scholars who created our modern historical narrative. The story of the Black Pharaohs is more than a cool piece of trivia. It's a key. It proves that the flow of civilization in Africa wasn't a one-way street. It was a conversation, a dialogue between two great kingdoms that together wrote one of the most incredible chapters in human history. The real lie wasn't that the Black Pharaohs didn't exist. The lie was that they didn't matter. And understanding the difference changes everything. Every episode is a new chance to test what you know and, of course, rethink what you thought you knew. Be sure to like, subscribe, and come back next time where we test your knowledge on something entirely different.